On the left of your screen, you've got Vestergaard for $21 million, who came in from Southampton, amongst others. Ademola Lookman today has come in on loan. On your right of your screen, 5 have gone out, including Dennis Pratt today. So we're going to take you live back to London, and we're going to talk to David Ornstein about Ademola Lookman in just a second. But the latest on the Chelsea situation was Saul from Atletico Madrid, the midfielder. Any news on whether the paperwork has made it, David?
The most important thing, Rebecca, for Chelsea fans is I'm assured it is a done deal and that Saul Niguez is going to be joining Chelsea on loan with an option to buy. There does seem to have been a bit of a problem with the paperwork and the system for processing these transfers in Spain, but I think those problems have been navigated and it will all be OK.
OK, good news for Chelsea fans. As soon as we get that double confirmation, we'll let you know. So Ademola Lookman arrives at Leicester. Really interesting. He was at Everton before, went to Leipzig, went on loan to Fulham. They went down. Now he's gone on loan to Leicester today. Tell us more.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting signing. He did very well with Fulham. He's never really found his natural home, has he? We saw him come through with Charlton Athletic, spend time with Everton, go out to RB Leipzig. It was a tough deal for Leicester to do because RB Leipzig's demands were pretty high, but they got it done. And he released a really nice statement on his social media. And I think that could be a partnership that works really well. It's a bit strange seeing a similar style of winger in Demarai Gray leave Leicester just a year or so ago. He's now at Everton, and former Everton player Lookman is now at Leicester. They've also done some really canny other business in terms of Boubakary Soumaré coming in from Lille. He only had a year to go in his contract. It was around 30 million euros. And Patson Daka up front from Salzburg. That's a really exciting one too. But perhaps the key thing for them was keeping hold of James Maddison. There were rumours linking him with Arsenal. To my knowledge, he was never a top target of theirs. However, keeping hold of them is massive. Brendan Rodgers now needs to, I keep saying it, deliver, not fall out of the Champions League places and build on that FA Cup victory and fulfil the owner's desire, which is to challenge at the top. Top, as his name is, the owner, he has high expectations and it's up to Leicester to meet them.
David, you read my mind. James Maddison is exactly where I want to take this conversation with Tim, because Arsenal, we think, were sniffing around, as David said. But because of the way last season finished and he didn't make the England squad, he sort of, it all went a bit quiet, didn't it, around James Maddison?
Yeah, he's exciting. He's an exciting young player. He gets in those pockets. He links up really well with Jamie Vardy. And yeah, this is one of those players we think now it's time for progression. Now we need to see more goals, more assists, more. He should be a player saying, I'm playing every week. There's no way the manager's leaving me out. Speaking of the manager, breaking news, Brendan Rodgers heard Robbie Earle say that Graham Potter was the best manager outside that four, and he disagrees. 1,000,000,000% disagrees. And he should. Brendan Rodgers has been brilliant. The plan at this football club, where sometimes they sell a top player almost year on year and bring in players. Vestergaard, Bertrand, Lookman, those are Leicester players. I think this team, once again, and we know they missed out really late on last year, they will be pushing for that 5th or 4th spot somewhere in there because they're that good. And Jamie Vardy at some point has to stop scoring goals, but not this season.
When you look at who they've brought in, and David was great there on all the exciting different names they've brought in, and if Maddison does what Tim wants him to do, can they do it? Or is this season going to be harder than last and harder than the season before?
The Fofana injury was a blow at the start of the season. I know Vestergaard's come in and Brendan can work on things. But there's enough talent, and Tim's right, probably apart from Bielsa and maybe Rodgers, I'd say Potter. But yeah, Brendan Rodgers with his team. They've kept hold of people. This Patson Daka is an interesting one, Rebecca. 27 goals in 28 games, Austrian Player of the Year. At some point when we say, you know, what's going to happen to Vardy, Iheanacho had a decent part of last season and maybe can come good, but Daka's a goal scorer and might just, you know, he's young, he can run the channels, he can hold the ball up and he can get goals. So I'm quite interested in Soumaré's another one who's in midfield. There's a certain profile now of a Leicester player, young, athletic, good technical, football IQ that Brendan Rodgers has, and he's got a group of them now. And when you keep those players and as they grow and mature, then you've got to start making steps into the top 4.
Tim, do you think the size of the club suits Brendan Rodgers? Do you think they're matched in terms of the quality of each of them? mismatched or matched?
No, very much matched. I mean, I think that he does have the ability to, coach at a higher
level. A call from Brendan. He said he's bigger than Leicester.
But he can coach at a higher level. But it does suit the club. But I agree, he needs to now get into the Champions League and fulfill that.
Do you see him with the qualities to be able to do that? Do you see him one day at an Arsenal or at a Manchester City?
Yeah, I mean, one day. But in terms of Champions League this year, I mean, to your point earlier, I just don't. I think the league is too tough now. I think that top four is going to be solidified.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches and much more.